The parking lot of Rosie's Diner in Cedar Falls, Iowa, was half empty on a Tuesday afternoon in March. Spring hadn't quite arrived yet. The trees were still bare. The air still had bite. But the sun was warm enough that Marcus Webb decided to stop for lunch instead of pushing through to Des Moines. Marcus was 46, built solid from years of manual labor, with a beard going gray and eyes that had seen more miles of highway than most people would drive in a lifetime. He'd been riding with the Iron Valley MC for 12 years, long enough to have the patches and the scars and the stories. His Harley sat in the parking lot, chrome gleaming, a beast of metal and memory that he'd rebuilt twice. He was inside the diner for maybe 20 minutes. Burger and fries, coffee black as sin, small talk with Rosie about the weather and the road conditions. When he came back out, he noticed something on his seat immediately, a piece of paper, folded in half, tucked carefully under his helmet so the wind wouldn't take it. Marcus looked around. The parking lot was mostly empty. A minivan near the entrance, an old pickup by the dumpster, a sedan that had seen better days. No one was watching. No one seemed to be paying attention. He picked up the paper and unfolded it. It was a drawing. Crayon, the kind a kid would make. A motorcycle, clearly meant to be his, with exaggerated chrome and flames that didn't exist but should have. And standing next to the motorcycle was a figure in a vest and boots. Next to that, in careful, shaky letters, "Thank you for being a hero." From Lily. Marcus stared at the drawing. He looked around again, more carefully this time. Near the minivan, a little girl was watching him through the window. She couldn't have been more than 7 or 8, with dark curly hair and big eyes. When their eyes met, she smiled and waved. Marcus walked over to the minivan. A woman in the driver's seat, the girl's mother clearly, rolled down the window. She looked tired, the kind of tired that went bone deep. "My daughter left you something," the woman said apologetically. "I told her not to bother people, but she insisted." Marcus held up the drawing. "This is from her?" The little girl leaned forward from the back seat. "I saw you park your motorcycle." "It's so cool. Are you a real biker?" "Lily, please," her mother said, but there was no real force behind it. Marcus knelt down so he was eye level with the girl. "Yeah, I'm a real biker. Been riding 26 years now. This is a beautiful drawing. Thank you. I wanted to give you something nice because bikers are heroes," Lily said seriously. "My teacher said so. She said bikers help people and protect kids and do brave things." Marcus glanced at the mother, who looked embarrassed. "She's been learning about community helpers at school. Police officers, firefighters, veterans. Last week they did a unit on motorcycle clubs that do charity work." Lily became obsessed. "I want to be a biker when I grow up," Lily announced, "but Mommy says I have to wait until I'm bigger." "Your mom's right about that," Marcus said. He looked at the drawing again, at the careful way she'd drawn the flames, the attention to detail in the wheels. "This is really good, Lily. You're a talented artist." Lily beamed. "Really? Really? In fact, I'm going to keep this. Put it somewhere special." "Where?" Marcus thought about it. "My clubhouse. That's where all my biker friends meet. I'll show them, and they'll think it's as cool as I do." "You promise?" "Promise." Lily's mother smiled for the first time. "Say thank you to the nice man, Lily. Thank you for being a hero." Marcus felt something shift in his chest. He'd been called a lot of things in his life, not all of them nice, but hero was new. "You're welcome, kiddo. You keep drawing, okay? The world needs more artists." He returned to his bike, carefully folding the drawing and placing it in his saddlebag. As he started his engine and rolled out of the parking lot, he saw Lily waving from the minivan window. He raised his hand in return. The drawing stayed in his saddlebag for 3 days. Every time Marcus stopped for gas or food or just to stretch his legs, he'd think about it. About the little girl who thought bikers were heroes, about her careful letters and crayon flames, and the way she'd smiled when he'd promised to keep it. On Friday night, Marcus rode to the Iron Valley Clubhouse outside Cedar Falls. It was a converted warehouse that the club had bought 10 years ago, part garage, part meeting hall, part home for men who didn't always fit anywhere else. 15 bikes were already parked outside when Marcus arrived. Inside, his brothers were gathered around a pool table, drinking beer and giving each other hell about a poker game from the previous week. Marcus grabbed a beer from the fridge and joined them. "Webb, where you been?" called out Leon Hammer Price, the club president. He was 58, built like a bear, with hands that could fix any engine or break any jaw, depending on the situation. On the road. Had a delivery to make in Des Moines. How'd it go? Fine. But I got something to show you guys. Marcus pulled out the drawing and unfolded it on the pool table. The conversation stopped. The men gathered around, studying the crayon motorcycle and the shaky letters. A kid gave you this? Asked Danny Sketch Morrison, the youngest member at 29. Little girl at Rosie's Diner. Maybe 7 years old. Left it on my seat while I was eating lunch. Thank you for being a hero, read out Carl Preacher Johnson, who'd gotten his road name from his habit of quoting scripture at odd moments. That's sweet. Why'd she think you're a hero? Hammer asked, but he was smiling. Mom said they did a school unit on motorcycle clubs that do charity work. Kid decided bikers are heroes. Wanted to say thank you. The men were quiet for a moment, looking at the drawing. These were hard men, most of them. Men who'd done time or come back from wars or rebuilt their lives from wreckage. Men who wore their scars on the outside and kept their softer parts locked away. But standing there, looking at a little girl's crayon drawing, something in the room shifted. We should do something, Sketch said suddenly. Like what? Marcus asked. I don't know. Something to show that kid she was right, that bikers can be heroes, that her drawing mattered. She's just a kid, Carl said. Probably forgot about it already. But Sketch was shaking his head. Kids don't forget stuff like that. Trust me. I remember every adult who paid attention to me when I was little. Everyone who made me feel like I mattered. His voice caught. Not a long list. Hammer studied the drawing. What did you have in mind? We find out who she is, where she lives, and we do something nice. Something that shows her we saw her drawing, and it meant something. Could be weird, Marcus said. Bunch of bikers showing up at a kid's house. Not if we do it right, Hammer said slowly. Not if we make it about the community. About showing appreciation. Webb, you said this was at Rosie's Diner? Yeah. Rosie knows everyone in Cedar Falls. She'll know who the kid is. Hammer looked around at the gathered men. Show of hands. Who wants to do something nice for a little girl who thinks we're heroes? Every hand went up. They rode to Rosie's the next morning. All 15 of them, bikes in formation, pulling into the parking lot with the sun barely up. Rosie was just opening, and her eyes went wide when she saw the convoy. Marcus Webb, what in the world? Need your help, Rosie, Marcus said. He showed her the drawing. Little girl gave me this earlier this week. Dark curly hair, maybe 7 or 8. Was with her mom in a minivan. You know who she is? Rosie's face softened. Oh, that's Lily Parker, and her mom, Amy. They live in the trailer park off Route 18. Sweet family. Amy's been having a rough time since Lily's dad passed away 2 years ago. Cancer. Left them with medical bills that about buried them. The bikers exchanged looks. What kind of rough time? Hammer asked. The kind where you're working 2 jobs and still not making rent, where your kid needs things for school and you're choosing between that and groceries, where you're 1 bad month away from losing everything. Rosie crossed her arms. Why? What are you boys planning? Something good, Marcus said. Can you give us their address? Rosie studied them for a long moment. Then she wrote down an address on the back of a napkin. You do anything to hurt that family, I'll come after you myself. We're not going to hurt them, Hammer promised. We're going to help them. The Iron Valley MC spent the next week planning. They reached out to other chapters, Cedar Rapids, Waterloo, Dubuque, Davenport, put out the word on social media and biker forums. Little girl gave one of our brothers a drawing. Called us heroes. Let's prove her right. The response was overwhelming. Bikers from across Iowa and neighboring states wanted to help. They organized a fundraiser ride. They collected donations. They contacted local businesses for sponsorships. They reached out to Amy Parker's landlord, her daughter's school, the organizations she was behind on payments with. Within a week, they'd raised $12,000. But Hammer wanted to do more than just give money. Anyone can write a check, he said at a club meeting. We're going to show up. We're going to let Lily see that her drawing mattered, that she was right about us. On a Saturday morning in late March, Amy Parker was washing dishes when she heard the sound. Low at first, then building. A rumble that shook the windows of her small trailer. She looked outside and her hands went still in the soapy water. Motorcycles, dozens of them. Maybe more. They were pulling into the trailer park, filling the narrow road, parking in every available space. Men and women in leather vests, all wearing patches from different clubs: Iron Valley, Cedar Rapids Riders, Midwest Brotherhood, Freedom Riders, chapters from all over Iowa and Illinois and Wisconsin. Amy's heart started pounding. She called for Lily, who was in her room drawing. "Baby, stay inside." "But Mommy, why are there so many motorcycles?" "I don't know. Just stay." A knock on the door. Amy approached it slowly, Lily peeking out from behind her legs. She opened it to find Marcus Webb standing on her small porch, holding a familiar piece of paper. "Miss Parker? I'm Marcus Webb. Your daughter Lily gave me this drawing last week at Rosie's Diner." Amy stared at the drawing, then at the sea of motorcycles and bikers behind Marcus. "I don't understand." Lily pushed past her mother. "You came back. You're the hero biker." Marcus knelt down. "Hey, Lily. I promised I'd keep your drawing somewhere special, remember? Well, I showed it to my friends, and we all thought it was pretty amazing, so we wanted to come say thank you properly." Hammer stepped forward. "Ms. Parker, I'm Leon Price, president of the Iron Valley Motorcycle Club. Your daughter's drawing inspired something we didn't expect. We started reaching out to other clubs, telling them about Lily's gift, about how she called us heroes and made us want to live up to that." "I still don't understand," Amy said, but her voice was shaking. "We did some asking around," Marcus said gently. "Heard you've been having a hard time since your husband passed. Medical bills, working 2 jobs, struggling to make ends meet. We thought maybe we could help." Another biker stepped forward, a woman in her 50s with kind eyes. She introduced herself as Patricia from the Freedom Riders. "We organized a fundraiser ride last weekend. Bikers from 14 different clubs participated. We raised money for your family." Patricia handed Amy an envelope. Inside was a cashier's check for $12,000. Amy's legs gave out. She sat down hard on the porch step, staring at the check. "This isn't real. This can't be real." "It's real," Hammer said, "and there's more. We talked to your landlord. Your rent's paid through the end of the year. We talked to the hospital about your husband's medical bills. Most of it's been forgiven, and what's left we've covered. We talked to Lily's school. Her supply fees and lunch account are paid for the year." Amy was crying now, huge gulping sobs. Lily wrapped her arms around her mother, not quite understanding but knowing something important was happening. Marcus knelt beside them. "Your daughter called us heroes, Ms. Parker. The least we could do was try to be worthy of that." One of the other bikers, a man with a thick beard and gentle voice, stepped forward. "Ma'am, I'm a mechanic. I noticed your minivan's got a bad muffler and the tires are about shot. If you don't mind, I'd like to fix that for you. No charge." "I run a diner in Waterloo," said another. "You ever need work that's closer to home, less hours, I'm hiring. Good pay, benefits." "I'm a teacher," said a woman with gray-streaked hair. "If Lily ever needs tutoring or school supplies or anything for her education, you call me." One by one, the bikers offered help. Real help. Phone numbers and services and promises to be there if the Parker family ever needed anything. Amy sat on her porch step, Lily in her arms, and cried while 100 bikers stood in her trailer park like an army of guardian angels. A local news crew showed up. Someone had tipped them off. They filmed the scene. The sea of motorcycles, the little girl hugging bikers, the mother trying to find words to express what she was feeling. The reporter, a young woman named Jessica, interviewed Marcus. "What inspired this incredible act of generosity?" she asked. Marcus held up Lily's drawing. "This, a 7-year-old girl who thinks bikers are heroes, who took the time to draw a picture and leave it on a stranger's motorcycle, who said thank you for something we hadn't even done yet. That kind of faith in people, that kind of pure heart, it deserves to be rewarded." What do you hope comes from this? I hope people see that bikers aren't what they think. We're not all criminals or outlaws or troublemakers. Most of us are just people who love to ride and want to help our communities. We're fathers and mothers and veterans and teachers. We're just folks, and when a kid shows us kindness, we show it back. That's all. The story went viral. Within 48 hours, the video of the bikers gathering at the Parkers' trailer had been viewed millions of times. News outlets across the country picked it up. Good Morning America called. Ellen's producers reached out. But more importantly, other motorcycle clubs started sharing their own stories. the clubs that escorted abuse victims to court, the ones that delivered Christmas presents to foster kids, the ones that built wheelchair ramps and raised money for veterans and organized charity rides for families in need. Lily's drawing became a symbol. Clubs across the country started sharing photos of themselves holding the image, which had been scanned and shared online. Hashtag Lily's Heroes trended for a week. Bikers from California to Maine posted pictures of their own charity work, their own community involvement, their own attempts to be worthy of a 7-year-old's faith. The Iron Valley MC invited Lily and Amy to their clubhouse for a special ceremony. They'd framed the original drawing and mounted it on the wall in a place of honor. Lily stood in front of it, holding Marcus's hand, staring at her crayon motorcycle. "Is that really mine?" she asked, awed. "That's really yours," Marcus confirmed, "and it's going to stay right here so every biker who comes through these doors sees it. So they remember what we're supposed to be about. Helping people, being heroes, like you said." Lily looked up at him. "But you are heroes. You helped my mommy. You made her stop crying." Marcus had to look away for a moment. When he could speak, he said, "Your mommy's the hero, kiddo. She's been taking care of you and working hard and doing everything she could to keep you safe and happy. We just helped a little bit, but she's the strong one." Amy was standing with Hammer, both of them watching the scene. "I don't know how to thank you," she said for the 100th time. "You've changed our lives." "Your daughter changed ours first," Hammer replied. "She reminded us why we do this, why we ride together, why we form these clubs, why we wear these patches. It's about brotherhood, sure, but it's also about being part of something bigger, about helping when we can, about being the kind of people kids can look up to." Over the next months, the relationship between the Parker family and the Iron Valley MC deepened. Marcus became a regular visitor, bringing Lily art supplies and teaching her to draw motorcycles with proper perspective. The club organized a birthday party for Lily's 8th birthday in May. 50 bikers showed up with presents and cake and took her for rides around the parking lot on their bikes, her helmet 3 sizes too big but her smile brighter than the sun. Amy eventually took the job at the diner in Waterloo. Better hours, better pay, benefits that meant she could take Lily to the doctor without choosing between medicine and rent. The medical bills were gone. The financial pressure had lifted. For the first time in 2 years, Amy could breathe. She started volunteering with the Iron Valley MC's charity events, helped organize fundraiser rides and toy drives and community outreach. She told everyone who would listen about what the bikers had done for her family, about how they'd saved her when she was drowning. Lily never stopped drawing. Her room filled with pictures of motorcycles and bikers and the friends she'd made at the clubhouse. She drew Marcus and Hammer and Sketch and all the others, each one labeled hero. The club kept every single drawing, hanging them around the clubhouse, until the walls were covered with a 7-year-old's vision of what heroes looked like. A year after that first drawing, the Iron Valley MC organized the first annual Lily's Heroes Ride. Hundreds of bikers from across the Midwest participated, raising money for families in crisis. Single parents struggling with medical bills, veterans dealing with PTSD, kids who needed school supplies, anyone who was drowning and needed someone to throw them a rope. Lily and Amy rode in the lead car, following the bikes through Cedar Falls. People lined the streets, waving and cheering. News crews covered it. Politicians showed up for photo ops. But for Marcus, riding his Harley at the front of the pack, it wasn't about the cameras or the publicity. It was about a little girl who'd seen something in him that he hadn't seen in himself, who'd called him a hero before he'd earned it and inspired him to become worthy of the title. That original drawing, framed and mounted in the clubhouse, became a touchstone. Before every ride, before every charity event, before every meeting, the Iron Valley MC would gather around it. Hammer would read the words aloud, "Thank you for being a hero." And then he'd add the club's unofficial motto, born from that March afternoon, "Let's be worthy of the title." They were. Time and time again, they were. The Iron Valley MC and all the clubs that had been inspired by Lily's drawing became known for their charity work. They built ramps and fixed cars and paid bills and showed up when people needed them. They escorted abuse victims and organized toy drives and raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for families in crisis. All because a 7-year-old girl had left a crayon drawing on a motorcycle seat and believed with the pure faith of a child that bikers were heroes. Marcus carried a photograph of that drawing in his wallet, showed it to anyone who asked about his patches or his lifestyle, or why he spent his Saturdays building wheelchair ramps instead of just riding for fun. He'd tell them about Lily Parker, about her simple gift and profound faith, about how one act of kindness from a child had rippled outward and changed hundreds of lives. Kids see things clearly, he'd say. They don't have all our prejudices and assumptions. They just see people. And Lily saw heroes where most people just saw bikers. That changed everything. When Lily turned 16, the Iron Valley MC gave her a gift, a custom-painted bicycle, not a motorcycle yet, they weren't crazy, but a beautiful bike with flames and chrome and a personalized nameplate. At the presentation, Marcus handed her a book. "What's this?" Lily asked. "Stories. From people all over the country whose lives were changed by your drawing, by the movement it started, people who got help because clubs decided to be heroes, because you believed we were." Lily paged through the book, reading letters and looking at photos. Families standing in front of new ramps, kids at Christmas with presents from toy drives, veterans getting the care they needed, single parents whose rent had been paid, whose cars had been fixed, whose crushing burdens had been lifted. "I didn't do all this," Lily said, overwhelmed. "Yes, you did," Marcus replied. "You saw the best in us. And we decided to live up to it. That's how change happens, Lily. Someone believes in you, and you work like hell to prove them right." Lily hugged him, this man who'd been a stranger once, who'd become something like a second father over the years. "Thank you for keeping your promise, for putting my drawing somewhere special. Thank you for reminding me what special looks like." That night, back at the clubhouse, the Iron Valley MC gathered around the original drawing like they did before every important event. New members had joined over the years. Some of the old guard had moved on or passed away, but the drawing remained, a constant reminder of their purpose. Hammer, grayer now but no less solid, addressed the group. "We started as a bunch of guys who liked to ride, who wanted brotherhood and freedom and a place to belong. That's what we still are. But we're something more now, too." He gestured to the drawing. "We're the heroes a little girl believed we could be. And that's a responsibility we carry every time we put on these patches." The men and women nodded. Some were crying. They'd all been changed by Lily Parker's simple gift, by her childlike faith, by her reminder that people could choose to be better than they were. "Let's be worthy of the title," Hammer said, like he did before every ride. "Let's be worthy," the club responded in unison. They rode out into the Iowa evening, dozens of motorcycles carrying men and women who'd been transformed by a crayon drawing. They rode to a fundraiser for a veteran's family, to a toy drive for foster kids, to the 100 small acts of service that filled their calendar. They rode as brothers and sisters, as a family, as a club. But most of all, they rode as heroes. Not because they were perfect or flawless or without their own demons, but because a little girl had believed they could be, and they'd decided she was right. The drawing stayed on the wall, the story kept spreading, and every year more clubs joined the Lily's Heroes ride, more families were helped, more lives were changed, all because one Tuesday in March, a 7-year-old girl had seen a stranger's motorcycle and decided to say thank you, to leave a piece of her heart in crayon and paper on a seat, to believe in heroes. And the heroes, rough and scarred and imperfect as they were, had decided to believe in themselves. That was the real gift, not the money or the repairs or the paid bills. The real gift was Lily Parker showing a group of men and women that they could be more than they thought they were, that the patches on their vests could stand for service and sacrifice and protection. That being a biker could mean being a hero. Marcus Webb was 63 when he finally hung up his helmet for good. His knees were shot, his back was worse, and the doctor said one more spill might be his last. But before he stopped riding, he took one final trip to Cedar Falls, to the trailer park that wasn't a trailer park anymore. Amy had bought a small house with her savings, a place with a yard and a garage and room for Lily to grow. Lily was 24 now, graduating from art school, her dorm room walls covered with motorcycle paintings and sketches of the bikers who'd changed her life. She came home for Marcus's visit, and they sat on the porch like old friends. "You changed everything," Marcus said. "That drawing you made, it changed all of us." "You changed everything for me," Lily replied. You and all the others. You showed up when we had nothing. You gave us hope. You gave it to us first. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the sun set over Cedar Falls. Somewhere in the distance, the rumble of motorcycles echoed, probably the Iron Valley MC heading to another charity event, another family in need, another chance to live up to the title. You were right, you know, Marcus said finally. What you wrote on that drawing. We are heroes, not because we're tough, or because we ride motorcycles, or because we wear these patches, but because we chose to help when we didn't have to, because we saw someone drowning and decided to throw them a rope, because a little girl believed we were good, and we decided to prove her right. Lily reached over and squeezed his weathered hand. Thank you for being a hero, Marcus. Thank you for showing me I could be. The sun disappeared below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and red. In clubhouses across the country, framed copies of a child's crayon drawing hung on walls, reminders of what was possible when someone believed in you. And somewhere, maybe in a shoebox under a bed, Amy Parker kept the original frame that had hung in the Iron Valley clubhouse for years. They'd given it to her when they moved to a bigger space, telling her it belonged with the family that had started it all. The drawing showed a motorcycle with exaggerated flames and a figure in a vest. The letters were shaky but sincere. Thank you for being a hero. From Lily. It was just crayon and paper, just a child's gift to a stranger, just a simple act of kindness that could have been forgotten in a day. But it wasn't forgotten. It became a movement, a reminder, a promise kept by thousands of people who wore leather and rode steel horses and decided that being a hero wasn't about being perfect. It was about showing up, about helping when you could, about living up to the faith a 7-year-old girl had placed in a stranger one Tuesday afternoon. In March, that was the story. That was what went viral, not just the money or the motorcycles or the cameras, but the simple, profound truth that people could choose to be better. That belief could inspire change. That one act of kindness could ripple outward and transform hundreds of lives. All it took was someone who saw the best in others and said it out loud, someone who drew it in crayon and left it on a seat, someone who believed in heroes. And the heroes, grateful and humbled and forever changed, spent the rest of their lives trying to be worthy of that belief, because someone had to be, and a little girl named Lily had decided it might as well be them.